Welcome back to another video. Today we are making more tissue culture media. However, in this video I'm going to show you some tips on how to make tissue culture media much faster. So one of the things, now as a disclaimer, is if you are doing research, do not follow some of these steps that I'm going to show you. This video is mostly for people like me that just want to do like tissue culture for their own, like you're doing your own tissue culture for your own plants. Maybe some business for selling as well, that's perfectly fine. But if you're doing any research where you have to keep everything like record of all your media and everything very precise notes, this is not the way to do it for you. But for pretty much most people this is just a good video on just kind of a few tricks on how to make this process a little faster. So I'll be honest, one of my least favorite things to do is making media. It just, for me, it doesn't feel like it's very efficient. It feels like it just takes so much time, and it just I'd rather be just doing the tissue culture work. Like there is a couple things where if you are already starting a business, it's about efficiency. So let's say I want to work on the tissue culture, doing the actual tissue culture, because that's where it provides the most value. That's what I'm working for, maybe a couple $100 an hour, instead of like making media where anybody can make media. You can pay somebody like a minimum wage or use something like that, and they can just make the media for you. But sometimes you cannot hire a person to do that, and it also depends on how much tissue culture. So for me, I don't do that much tissue culture to be worth it for me to hire another person, another helper for me just to make the media. So I still had to make my own tissue culture media, which is fine, but there are a couple things that I have optimized over time to make this process go a little faster. Now, one thing that is kind of the problem for making media is the autoclave or the pressure cooker, where I like to use like these containers. Like this is a 32-ounce deli container. This is a 16-ounce deli container. You have also seen me use a little bit smaller portion cups or similar to deli containers. I like to use these. They are good size and I like them. The only problem with this is that I can only fit 16 of the 16-ounce deli containers or 8 of the 32-ounce deli containers in my pressure cooker. So as you can tell, it is not very efficient. If I want to make let's say 100 of these, that means I had to run like 12 cycles to be able to get 100. So you can tell it's a lot. It takes a long time. It is not very efficient. It also has a lot of power because you have to run the pressure cooker, which is over like 1500 watts. So it is not very efficient. Now, a lot of people, what they do when they use like these kind of containers, like larger containers, is that they use the microwave, which makes it a little faster. There are some people that the way they use the microwave is they place the media in, they pour the media in the deli containers, and until they boil, and then that's good. So they can probably sterilize the media in like 3 to 5 minutes, and they can feed like maybe 5 to 7 or maybe even 10 depending on the size. I don't think the biggest microwave that I have used, I only fit 7, but still I don't trust it. I don't really trust it that way. The only way I have been able to use the microwave is if for this one I do 10 minutes at 50% power. I've been able to have very good success with no contamination, but I still not completely trust that way to sterilization. So the other way to do it is if I just take the whole slips of containers, place those inside of slow cooker liners that I have shown in a previous video, and then you sterilize the containers and the lids separately, and then you make the media in one of these media bottles and separate, and then you just pour it in the hood. So that works great. The only problem is that, well, it's not that much of a problem with the 32-ounce, with the 16-ounce deli containers. They can deform a little bit, but the 32-ounce, because they are so tall, and if they are a little bit more flimsy, because it's the same thickness of plastic, but because it's a lot taller, they really shrink quite a bit, and it is definitely not fun. It is quite a bit of mess. So this process of using like a slow cooker liner on 32-ounce deli containers doesn't really work that well. So what I'm going to show you is something a little bit different, and I'm going to explain you as I go. So let's get started and making some media. Alright, so I'm going to start by making media. I actually going to make 10 liters of media. So I have my 2 liters plastic cup, and I'm going to explain you why in a second. It is a little bit, it's maybe difficult to explain. It's just like you just have to bear with me and I explain as I go. So I want to take my distilled water and I want to fill it up to around 1500 milliliters, and I will show you why in a moment. Just around there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just for now. Put this on the side. So I have that. Now I want to add my sugar, and because I have 10 liters of media that I want to do, I want to add 200 grams or 25 grams of sugar per liter of media. Now, one thing that I have over time or with just practice of making like these batches of media is that I know that if I take what is measurement is this? This is half a cup. So if I take half a cup completely flush, and I already made a mess, let me show you how much this is. So that's roughly 100 grams. So I just going to take 2 of these. And what I have here, one, just right there. So 200 grams. So instead of me weighing the sugar every time I make tissue culture media, all I can do is I can just take 1 cup of sugar, and that's going to roughly give me around 200 grams, maybe a little bit more than 200 grams, but you know, with sugar between 20 and 30 grams of sugar per liter of media, that's perfectly fine. So that's what I want to do here. So I want to add all my sugar. So kind of the idea here is that I want to dissolve all my ingredients for 10 liters of media in 2 liters of water. Next, I'm going to add my MS media, and here at Plant Cell Technology we have already pre-measured media. So kind of the best value for you will be to get the bottle of 50 liters of media. Whatever you want to, you can also get like this is already pre-measured for 10 liters of media. So this is 45.4 grams of MS micros and macro salts. So what I'm going to do is I don't even have to measure. I just want to pour it all directly into my water. There we go. Now I want to add 1 milliliter per liter of ppm. Now I normally use a 1 milliliter micropipette. However, I just bought myself a 10 milliliters micropipette. This is very useful to have because all I can do is set it up to 10 milliliters. This is a big micropipette. I don't know if this is considered a micropipette or is just a pipette. But there we go. 10 milliliters of ppm. There we go. So I'm done. So there is a little things where every time, let's say I'm making media, I like to make media in like larger batches. So having me like a larger pipette, I can just add all of these. It just makes things a lot faster for me. Alright, so this is done. Next, what I'm going to do is add more water. I'm going to add to the 200 milliliters, 2000 milliliters mark. There it is. So now I have a concentrated 2 liters of MS media, and now what I need to do is dilute it all the way to the 10 liters so I have my final concentration, and then after that I can calibrate my pH. So what I'm going to do is So I have this measuring bucket. It is for 10 quarts or like 9.47 liters. It still is going to hold the 10 liters, it's fine. So I just want to take this out of here. Believe it or not, this thing works with the magnetic stirrer. So I just want to place this in here. So I have 2 liters and I want to place it in here. Alright, so I have added 2 liters and now I want to add 8 more liters of water. So that's the reason why I started with 1500 milliliters. I added all the ingredients that I needed to make 10 liters, and then when I was done I just added a little bit extra water to the 2000 milliliters marks, and then I did this here. That way I know that I only need to add I need to add another 8 liters of water to have my final concentration of 10 of 10 liters. If I would have added all the 10 liters in here and then adding my ingredients, I won't be able to completely have an accurate measurement of my final amount of volume of media, because I'm adding like 200 grams of sugar, and then I adding like another 44 grams of MS media, and then I'm adding 10 milliliters of ppm. So for me to know, because that that adds volume, so if I have started directly in here, that I won't be able to have like an accurate measurement. But now, because I started with this 2 liters cup, that I know that I had to add another 8 liters of media, of water. Oh, that was perfect right there. So I have 4 liters now. Alright, there we go. So with this we'll make it 10, which is going to get it all the way to the top. Alright, so now I have my 10 liters of media ready to go. The only thing I need to do is now calibrate the pH. And I'm sorry it's so loud, but the magnetic rod is pretty loud. Alright, so the pH is now 5.8, so I'm done. So media is basically done. The only thing I need to do is add my gelling agent. Now, let me show you another trick for adding gelling agent. Alright, so when I'm making media using media bottles, instead of adding the media to my beaker, or this case bucket, where I'm making the media, I add the gelling agent directly into my bottles. That way, if I add all the gelling agent to here, whenever I'm pouring, it's going to leave a lot of residue still like on the walls of the beaker or measuring cup or whatever you're using. So I found that it's much easier for cleanup and from it's just better to add directly the gelling agent to the bottles. So also another trick that I do is with gelling agent is nothing is even if you are doing this, like let's say for research, well, I would say forget about that. For research, you stick to your very fancy measuring devices, measuring scale and everything, because you have to do that. But let's say for everybody else that is not doing research, when the use of agar or Galen gum is for Galen gum I use 2 to 4 grams of Galen gum, and for agar I use 6 to 10 or 6 or yeah, something like that. So if I'm using, let me show you what I use. This is use another measuring cup. So I found that 1/4 of a teaspoon, I'm going to measure it just so I can show you. So 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I have to use to be flush. If I measure this amount, It's about 3.5 grams, so it's a little bit more than I normally do, but this saves me a lot of time. Now, if you want to save money, obviously, you want to be very precise during your measurements, but I don't really care. I rather do a little bit of speed than sacrifice a little bit of money, but I like the speed. So instead of me just measuring this all the time, I can just take it and then just put it into my media bottle. So this is for gel and gum. So like I say, I do around 3 grams. So there you go. So this one. If I have a funnel, I can just pour it directly into the bottle, but I don't have one. So I'm just going to do this. 1, 2. Three. Now I'm going to do the rest with agar. Now with agar, I have found that the other side of this spoon, half of a teaspoon, gives me just around 8 grams of agar. So again, it's pretty much the perfect measurement of what I need. So if I grab, again, just flush. Now this is just a gelling agent. Yeah, I won't do like I will grab like an individual one for each or for everything. But because this is just gelling agent, if there is a little bit of residue between each other, it's not really that much of a big deal. So I'm not really I know I'm pretty much cross-contaminating here because this may have a little bit of residue of gel and gum, but it is okay. It is just kind of gelling agent. But if I do this, flush, I get around 8.5 grams. So that's pretty good for me. So I just want to, again, just pour it in here. Well, you can see I don't have to measure every time. I can just grab it, and like I say, if I have a funnel, I can just pour it directly into the bottle, and then I'm done. Yeah, then I'm done. Now all I have to do is fill my media bottles with my media and then place it in the pressure cooker. Now if I have something like a peristaltic pump where I can just put one end of the hose in the media and then the other one in the bottle, that would be ideal. I don't have one. I just want to grab one of these measuring cups. It's still fine. It's nothing fancy, but it works. Alright, so now I have my 5 liters of media. Now I'm only doing 5 right now. On my pressure cooker I can fit 7 of these media bottles, but I don't have enough media bottles, so I just want to do 2 batches of 5, and that's still a lot better than doing, instead of doing 12, I can just do 2 if I want 100 of these like a deli container. So I'm going to sterilize this media and then I'll be right back. And there we have it. 100 deli containers is in just under 3 hours, so that's actually pretty good. They all look all pretty good. I did 5 off camera, so I just finished this up. So another little trick is that what I do is when I pour media is after I pour the media, I just give it a little bit of a shake, just a little swirl here so they can solidify more uniformly. But everything looks pretty good. When you make the media in media bottles, everything is very well dissolved, so there shouldn't be any problems. So we have agar and gel and gum, and well, let me show you. These first two, these are the ones that I pour. They go shrink a little. So what happened is that, let me just recap. So I made 10 liters of media. I place the media bottles in the pressure cooker, and then I pour the containers in the hood, which are not sterile. They are clean, but they are not sterile. They were used directly from the wrap. I took all the wrap up, and they are very clean, but like I said, they are not sterile. I pour the media in the hood, then I brought it over to the microwave for 3 minutes so I can sterilize the container, and then I just leave it here, and then I just have to let it solidify. But that was everything. Now these two got the containers on this first two, they shrink a little. The problem is that immediately when I took them out of the microwave, I put the lids and then close the lid. So you should wait a little bit because if it's used immediately after the microwave, they can still shrink a little. So just wait a few minutes and then you'll be okay. But yeah, 100 deli containers under 3 hours, so that's pretty good. Now let's say if I put 10 plants on each of these deli containers, and if I wait, let's say 3 to 6 months, then I will have probably close to 100 plants on each container. And let's say I sell each of these containers for around $100, if depending on the plants. Basically I can have around $10,000 here. So this is pretty good. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have any more tips on how to make media or stuff like that, let me know down in the comments. But like I said, this is good for you making your own tissue culture for your own plants. But if you're doing research, use make sure to follow the instructions on the training that you have. Proper protocols. This is something you can do if you're doing your own tissue culture for your own plants. But don't do it if you are doing some kind of research where you have to keep everything write it down. So hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next week.
Hey everyone,
Goodbye.
thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying these tissue culture videos, be sure to follow us on social media for more informative content. And if you're interested in conducting your own tissue culture experiments, make sure to check us out at plantcelltechnology.com for all the products you need to get started. Use the code FP10 for 10% off your first purchase.